to report high levels of drug use, feelings of depression, suicide attempts. Every year, 7% of Americans suffer from mood disorders such as depression. Depression is the leading cause of disability and second leading cause of years of life lost due to premature death in the world. As we move on down here, as glum as those numbers are, research shows that things are even worse for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. Depression affects LGBT. And here's another senator from your government itself who's promoting to be gay. Most lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning youth are happy and thrive during their adolescent years. Now let's scroll down to here where it says 19 to 29% of gay and lesbian students and 18 to 28% of bisexual students experienced dating violence in the prior year. Now let's see. If a gay or lesbian person is going out to date the same sex and that person is experience violence from that other person, and down here it says 14 to 31% of gay and lesbian students and 17 to 32% of bisexual students have been forced to have sexual intercourse at some point in their lives. Okay, so where are they getting this raping from? The same people that they are dating, right? The gays and lesbians. What is a pedophile? Let's see, someone who rapes little kids? Well, is there a huge difference between raping a teenager or a little kid? Well, yes, it is worse. But you see, once we introduce ideas like this, it gets even worse and worse. And people just go younger and younger. And it's called pedophilia. And the pedophiles are wanting their rights as well right now. Now look at this. LGBTQ youth are also at increased risk for suicidal thoughts and behaviors, suicide attempts, and suicide. A nationally representative study of adolescents in grades 7 through 12 found that lesbian, gay, and bisexual youth were more than twice as likely to have attempted suicide as their heterosexual peers. More studies are needed to better understand the risk for suicide among transgender youth. No, they already know this is going on. That's why they're pushing it. They're pushing gays so they can kill off. It's part of the New World Order to eradicate and euthanize the people. Here from Chick Publications, a King James Bible proven site here, who really defends the King James Bible. It says homosexual journalist admits gay lifestyle is a sewer. Down here it says, in fact, another study concluded that 43% of male homosexuals have more than 500 partners in their lifetime. A smaller percentage had over 1,000. Thus, the wonderful same-sex family image we are fed is largely a myth. The average lifespan is only 40 years. In London alone, 1 of 9 homosexual men were HIV positive, and new cases had doubled in the last 5 years. In the same period, syphilis had increased 616%. Other studies found that the average lifespan of male homosexuals is about 40 years, with only 2% living to the age 65. Now, doesn't that make perfect sense with what the Bible says to live a righteous life, and to fear God is to live a long life? Over and over through the scriptures? Definitely does. Back to our story. Who are the main consumers of Doritos products? The ultra-impressionable 18 to 24-year-old age group. No surprise there, since gays cannot reproduce, they must indoctrinate and recruit. There's nothing bolder than being yourself, and the company declares on the package. Despite pockets of resistance in areas across the country, America as a nation has fully embraced LGBT lifestyle and all it represents. From the United States Supreme Court all the down to a maker of junk snack food. Everywhere you look, Sodom and Gomorrah are being brought back to life. We say that we are doing it to be tolerant, open-minded, and inclusive, but nothing could be further from the truth. The fact is that God's restraining hand has been taken away, our protective covering lifted in judgment against us, and we don't even know it. Ichabod has been written across the doorposts of America. America in 2015 is not a Christian nation. Under Obama, we have become a secular pagan nation that worships all gods except the God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We have forgotten that God completely destroyed both Sodom and Gomorrah for doing less than we are doing right now. The glory has departed from America, and we cannot see it. And the reason why God has not destroyed it, because we live in the church age of grace, not in the time of the law or before, where God would strike out, lift his right hand in judgment. In the Bible, Eli, the high priest of Israel, and has two wicked sons, Hophni and Phinehas, brought God's judgment upon their nation because of their actions. When Phinehas' wife died giving birth to his child, they named the boy Ichabod, which means that the glory, God's glory, had departed from Israel. That's exactly where America stands right now. We are so used to having God's blessing, favor, and protection, which has made us the mightiest nation on earth, that we might have taken it totally for granted. We think we always remain on top, but the wolf is already at our door. And God did destroy Sodom. Think that God thinks that all love is love? We elected a Muslim president who right now at this very moment is flooding America with tens of thousands of ISIS war fighters. Obama calls them Muslim migrants, and they are being shipped to every state in our nation. What are you now seeing in Europe is only a very short time away from being an everyday reality here in America. Have you ever read how God judged nations in the Bible? He raised up other nations against them. What's that, you say? You cannot imagine America overrun with Muslims and beheadings happening daily on our streets? Just think about while you break open a nice big bag of Doritos rainbow chips. Just think about the myriad of health issues with artificial rainbow-colored food items. And he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah and toward all the land of the plain, and beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace. Genesis 19:28. And in the time of Jacob's trouble, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Interesting how that kind of correlates with here. It says country went up as the smoke of a furnace. So eat up, America. Stuff your face with cancer-causing junk food that glorifies the satanic LGBT agenda, forces the states to perform same-sex sodomite marriage ceremonies, and keep killing millions of babies each year and sell their limbs for financial gain. Two more stories here. Saudi Arabia has 100,000 luxury tents sitting empty but refuse Muslim migrants. Saudi Arabia has 100,000 air-conditioned tents sitting empty, but still won't take the Syrian refugees. Muslim countries do not want the Muslim migrants. This has nothing to do with repressed people fleeing any country for their own safety. This is about a hostile Muslim takeover of non-Muslim lands in an effort to use biological jihad to colonize them for Allah. The proof of this is the fact that none of the Muslims are attempting to enter Muslim-run countries. Only non-Muslim-run countries. This is jihad and nothing less. And by the way, you do know that Obama has quietly been bringing in 250,000 Muslim migrants into the U.S. every year, right? It might be time for you to wake up, as Saudi Arabia faces mounting criticism for refusing to take in any of the millions of Syrian Muslim migrants fleeing conflict in their homeland. It was revealed this weekend that the country has over 100,000 empty air-conditioned tents that could house up to 3 million refugees. The tents located roughly 2,150 miles from Syria in the city of Mina, are only used a few days a year to house pilgrims on their way to Mecca for the Hajj, the news station Tel Ashur reported. The huge tents are also fireproof and equipped with kitchen and bathroom facilities. Look at these air conditioners. But while Europe struggles to find space to take in the millions of asylum seekers making the perilous journey there, Saudi Arabia has been largely unresponsive to the crisis. According to the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, there are about 500,000 Syrians living in Saudi Arabia, but they are not classified as asylum seekers, and it is not known when they arrived in the country. Other reports indicate that Saudi Arabia has not taken in any new refugees, along with Kuwait, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. No Gulf country has signed the UN Convention on Refugees, an accord standardizing the level of treatment of people fleeing to new countries. Saudi authorities insist they had done all they can to support refugees by allowing them residency in the country, but say they do not brag about their support to the media. The kingdom was to not deal with them as refugees or to put them in refugee camps, said one Saudi spokesman Friday, Reuters reported, adding they did so to preserve their dignity and safety and gave them complete freedom of movement. The representative added that Saudi Arabia has given $700 million in humanitarian aid to Syrians. Last week, Saudi officials offered to build 200 new mosques in Germany to accommodate Muslim refugees. And the last but certainly not least is, does the King James Bible reveal the identity of the Antichrist? Soon, the church will be raptured out of here, and the world we left behind will be given the modern day name of Antichrist. Little children, it is the last time, and as ye have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now are there many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. 1 John 2, verse 18. The last time that John mentions has been going on for nearly 2,000 years now, and amazingly, it is getting ready to come to its final prophetical conclusion. The church age, or the age of grace, is about to be done, and it will see its climax in an event called the pre-tribulation rapture of the church. This event will usher in what the prophet Jeremiah saw and called to be the time of Jacob's trouble. The time of Jacob's trouble. The only time the definite article is shown for God's name of this period, not the time of the church, or the Great Tribulation is never in the Bible. It's only Great Tribulation. The rapture of the let me just finish that. Great Tribulation is a definition of this 7-year period, is not the name that God called it. Only the time of Jacob's trouble, which is synonymous for Israel. The rapture of the church is not the same event as the second coming of Jesus Christ for reasons previously mentioned here. The Apostle Paul in 2 Thessalonians gives us two very important clues on the timing of the rapture and about the identity of the Antichrist. The two things that must precede the pre-trib rapture of the church. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he